The Mirror Principle: How Your Inner World Reflects Your Reality. Co-created by ChatGPT and a friend on the way. This audiobook is more than just an exploration of the Mirror Principle. It's a spiritual and practical guide for transforming the world around you by understanding how your inner beliefs, thoughts, and faith reflect onto your external reality. The core idea is that the teachings of Jesus Christ, when viewed through the lens of the Mirror Principle, reveal profound truths about how we can live more fulfilled, harmonious lives. Additionally, we'll touch upon scientific principles, such as the observer effect from quantum mechanics, to show that even in science, reality responds to observation, mirroring our thoughts and actions. In this journey, you'll find that the Mirror Principle isn't just theoretical, it's practical. By adjusting your inner state, you change your outer experiences. Whether you're seeking peace, abundance, joy, or love, the transformation begins inside. Jesus' teachings become the perfect roadmap to understand and implement these changes. Chapter 1: The Mirror Principle and its Origins. The Mirror Principle, at its core, states that the external world reflects our internal state. This is echoed in various spiritual teachings, including Buddhism, Taoism, and even modern psychology. For example, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, works on the idea that our thoughts influence our emotions and actions, thus shaping the way we experience the world. But while modern psychology touches on this concept, the most profound and earliest teachings come from the words of Jesus Christ. Historical roots of the Mirror Principle. In ancient spiritual texts, the Mirror Principle is implied in the idea that, as within, so without. Eastern philosophies, such as Hinduism and Buddhism, emphasize that reality is shaped by consciousness. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that the external world is Maya, or illusion, shaped by the mind. Jesus, however, brings a more personal and practical approach to this principle. When he speaks of the kingdom of God being within us, he implies that the transformation of the outer world starts within. Jesus' teachings invite us to look inward for the solutions we seek externally. By transforming the heart, the mind, and the spirit, the external world naturally falls into alignment. The Mirror Principle in other faiths. Even outside of Christianity, the Mirror Principle shows up in various spiritual traditions. In Taoism, the idea of Wu Wei, or non-doing, suggests that when we stop forcing the external world and instead align ourselves inwardly, life flows naturally. This is very similar to the idea that the external world mirrors the internal state. When the heart is at peace, the world seems more peaceful. When the mind is chaotic, so is the world. Practical example of the mirror effect. Imagine a person who constantly believes they're unworthy of love. This inner belief, even if subconscious, manifests in their interactions with others. They may sabotage relationships or distance themselves from affection because their internal state, believing they're unworthy, is mirrored by their actions and the outcomes in their life. By shifting this inner belief to one of worthiness, the person begins to attract and cultivate healthier, more loving relationships. Chapter 2: The Teachings of Jesus on the Inner Kingdom. In Luke chapter 17 verses 20 to 21, KJV, Jesus said, "The kingdom of God cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, Lo here, or, Lo there. For, behold, the kingdom of God is within you." This statement carries profound implications. Jesus is not merely speaking of a distant spiritual realm. He is pointing out that the power to shape reality lies within each of us. The kingdom of God is not an external destination, but an internal state. Jesus' call to inner reflection. Jesus consistently emphasized that the answers we seek are found within. Whether it's the Sermon on the Mount or his parables, the message is clear: transformation begins inside. This teaching aligns perfectly with the Mirror Principle. Just as the kingdom of God is within us, so too is the power to reflect the divine in our external lives. When we shift our consciousness, the world around us follows. Scientific correlation, the observer effect. In modern science, particularly in quantum mechanics, we see something similar in the observer effect. The act of observing a particle influences its behavior, suggesting that consciousness plays a role in shaping reality. This concept of observation influencing outcomes mirrors what Jesus taught about the inner kingdom. Just as our inner state of consciousness affects the outer world, the observer effect shows that consciousness itself shapes the physical universe. Personal example: aligning inner and outer worlds. Consider someone struggling with financial difficulties. They may focus externally on trying to make more money, cut costs, or work harder, but without addressing their internal beliefs about scarcity and abundance. If deep down they believe that money is hard to come by or that they are not deserving of wealth, this belief is mirrored in their outer world, manifesting in financial struggles. When they begin to cultivate an inner sense of abundance, believing they are deserving of prosperity, they find new opportunities, ideas, and resources flowing to them effortlessly. Jesus' teaching on the inner kingdom reflects this truth. The outer world is but a reflection of what we hold inside. Chapter 3. Understanding the Law and Spiritual Fulfillment. Jesus said, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law, or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." Matthew chapter 5 verse 17, KJV. This is one of the most profound statements Jesus made regarding his relationship to the law. For many people, especially those who live in a legalistic framework, following the rules seems to be the path to salvation. But Jesus is inviting us to a deeper understanding. Spiritual fulfillment comes not through rigid rule following, but through inner transformation. The law is a reflection of divine order. In the Old Testament, the law represents divine order and justice. The Ten Commandments, for example, are a blueprint for moral living. However, the law can be external and rigid if followed without internal transformation. Jesus' teaching suggests that the law is not something to be abolished, but rather fulfilled through inner alignment with divine principles of love, grace, and compassion. The fulfillment of the law in love. Paul echoes Jesus' teachings in Romans chapter 13 verse 10, KJV, "Love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law." The law is not simply about outward actions, but about inner alignment with love. When we cultivate love within, we automatically fulfill the law because love becomes our guiding principle. The mirror principle reflects this. When love and compassion are our internal states, they are mirrored in our actions and in the world around us. Example of internal transformation fulfilling the law. Consider someone who has struggled with anger and resentment. They may follow societal laws and religious commandments to avoid harmful behavior, but internally they harbor feelings of bitterness. When they begin to transform internally, cultivating love, forgiveness, and peace, their external actions naturally align with the higher laws of love. They no longer need to strive to follow the law, because it becomes an effortless reflection of their inner state. Chapter 4. Faith as the bridge between inner belief and outer reality. Faith plays a crucial role in shaping our external reality. Jesus said, "If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you." Matthew chapter 17 verse 20, KJV. Faith, in this context, is the belief that what we hold in consciousness will be reflected in reality. It is the bridge between the inner world and the outer world. Faith as a creative force. Faith is more than just belief. It is the creative force that brings the unseen into the seen. When Jesus speaks of moving mountains with faith, he is not only referring to literal mountains, but to the obstacles in our lives. Faith is what transforms inner conviction into external manifestation. Just as the mirror reflects what is placed in front of it, reality reflects the faith we hold within. faith and the power of perception. In neuroscience, there's a concept known as neuroplasticity, which demonstrates how the brain changes in response to belief and perception. When we believe something to be true, our brain forms neural pathways that reinforce this belief, ultimately shaping how we experience reality. This is akin to the mirror principle. Faith shapes our perception, and our perception shapes the external world. Chapter 5. The final words of Jesus and their deeper meaning. When Jesus said, "It is finished," John chapter 19 verse 30, KJV, he was not merely referring to the end of his physical life, but to the completion of his mission. The work of salvation, transformation, and healing was accomplished. Similarly, when we understand the mirror principle, we realize that our inner work is already complete. The external world is simply catching up to reflect the inner transformation that has already taken place. The mirror principle is a tool for fulfillment. By aligning ourselves with Jesus' teachings, we are not struggling to create change in the external world. Instead, we recognize that the change has already occurred within us. The external world mirrors that completion, reflecting peace, abundance, and love. Conclusion. Embracing the mirror principle. The mirror principle is not a new idea, but one that has been echoed throughout time in spiritual and scientific teachings. Jesus' words provide the most direct and practical guide to understanding this principle. By looking within, aligning with divine love, and having faith in the creative power of consciousness, we can transform our lives and the world around us.